Joining us now, the host of the Larry Elder Show, Larry Elder. Larry, what do you make of all this? Shouldn't Jimmy Kimmel have simply just apologized and said I was wrong? I mean, they're blaming FCC Chair Brendan Carr for calling it out. He said the FCC could move to revoke ABC affiliate licenses. We get that Nexstar, the affiliates, are in a merger push, but this was a blatant, deliberate lie on the air. The First Amendment does not cover workers on the job. They have no free speech rights at work.
Well, that's right. I mean, to say he was one of us, meaning he's a part of Mega, was a blatant lie, offensive, particularly at this time. You know, Robert Redford just died. He was probably as left-wing as Jimmy Kimmel, but he made good movies. He was a good director, so I watched his stuff. I can't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I can't watch Steve Colbert. It's offensive to me. Their job is to be funny and tell jokes. They had a sliver of the audience that Johnny Carson had. I believe that Jimmy Kimmel was losing as much money as was Steve Colbert. These late-night comics, except for Greg Gutfeld, haven't made any money in about 3 or 4 years. So it was a business decision. When your two biggest affiliate owners, Sinclair and Nexstar, had picked up the phone and called ABC and said, we're not going to carry them anymore, and they're in large cities and medium-sized cities, you're in deep, deep voodoo. This was a business decision. He should have apologized, made a substantial contribution to Turning Point USA, and tried to modify his humor. A few years ago, he even bragged that he lost half his audience because they were Trump supporters, and I don't care. I'm not going to alter my comedy. And he told ABC executives if they wanted him to alter his comedy and make it more fair, I'm not going to do it.
How is that what he said, comedy? I mean, you're right, because the markets responded. Viewers called to complain about that lie. Kimmel said that lie even after the Utah governor said 2 days before that it's, quote, very clear the suspect was indoctrinated with leftist ideology. That the suspect is to blame, not MAGA voters. Jimmy Kimmel, here's the thing, you're right. Jimmy Kimmel became a liability. His ratings plummeted. Let's show the numbers. You're right. Hollywood should just go back to the business of entertainment, making us laugh instead of traumatizing half the nation with dehumanizing remarks. Kimmel lost about as many viewers as Stephen Colbert. Jimmy Kimmel lost 1 million viewers over the last decade or so, down to 1.6 million on average, down from 2.6 million. He lost a big 11% from July to this August. Viewers literally started to run away as he went relentlessly political, Larry.
You know, Liz, I want a job where I can make $15 million while my employer loses $30 million. That's the kind of job I want. And you mentioned this is not comedy. I remember Johnny Carson was interviewed on 60 Minutes, and he said, why don't you do serious issues? He says, once you go down that path, just because you have a talk show doesn't mean that you have the power and the knowledge and the ability to do serious issues. Once you go down that path, and strangely enough, he said, with your perch, you can influence people, and that's a very dangerous thing. These guys couldn't care less. It's a different world, I understand that, but their job was to tell jokes, to be funny, and they're not.
You know, the Nexstar affiliate stations, you know, every company has a duty to protect its brand, Larry. Nexstar affiliates said Kimmel's comments were offensive, insensitive. He needed to tone it down. This was a time for sobriety. He didn't do it. This was when the nation was reeling in shock. Everybody, even Hollywood celebrities, were crying over Charlie Kirk's assassination. But he steps into the breach and makes it political at the wrong moment. Final word.
Right, and as I was saying, he even said a few years ago that if ABC executives approached him and said, make your comedy more balanced, I will refuse to do it. I lost half my audience because of Donald Trump, Jimmy Kimmel said. In essence, he said, Liz, I don't care.
Well, then you just cut out half the nation. You're right. It's a bad business decision. How is a political lie after someone's murdered funny? Thank you, Larry Elder, for breaking that down. We really appreciate you so much.